Tonight on News 5 Live, a gangland execution on Neil Penn Road. Nikolai Reese is gunned down and another man is injured. Can a new firearms control board prevent gun licenses from falling into the hands of known criminals? On tonight's episode of Belize on Real, an AI chatbot that understands Creole. And it's do or die for Belize's volleyball girls as the U19 team faces Nicaragua tonight. These stories and more coming up on News 5 Live.
Whether you're in a bustling urban area or a tranquil rural community, connectivity matters. Internet access is key to continued socioeconomic development. That is why Digi, our national telecom, has and will continue to invest millions of dollars to expand its mobile and fiber networks throughout Belize. Thousands of mobile users and households, especially along the highways and in rural communities, are now enjoying the benefits of Digi's resilient infrastructure. Our national telecom will continue to lead the charge towards digital transformation by utilizing cutting-edge technology and maintaining an unwavering dedication to excellence. With our DigiWallet solution, Belizeans in urban and rural areas now have easy and safe access to a wide array of financial services via their mobile devices. And with the recent launch of DigiTV, Digi has made history, becoming the only quad play service provider in Belize. Now, customers can save with our DigiOne bundles that offer home internet, mobile, home phone, and DigiTV services all in one place. Digi is committed to providing all communities with access to high-quality, reliable, and affordable services while unlocking untapped potential and opening the doors to a brighter future for all. Be a part of the transformation and experience connectivity like never before. Because with Digi, connectivity matters.
Shop smart for your Samsung devices in Belize and enjoy benefits you won't get anywhere else. When you shop locally for your Samsung, all your devices will be covered by a 1-year local warranty. You won't get that when shopping with the other guys. When in doubt, always look for the Cellular World seal to know you're getting the real deal. Shop with confidence and enjoy your Galaxy knowing that it can be repaired locally at our Samsung Service Center by certified Samsung technicians using original parts and machinery. Even better, enjoy the best LTE experience in Belize, knowing that your Samsung devices are compatible with major local carrier networks. Get the ultimate Samsung Galaxy experience only when you shop from authorized Samsung resellers nationwide.
Peacocker, San Pedro, and Belize City are just a click away with Caribbean Sprinter. Avoid delays by getting your tickets and boarding passes online at sprinter.bz and welcome aboard.
Digi users, vote for your favorite KTV contestant by texting the contestant's number and sending it to 588. Voting will be open from 8 p.m. on Tuesday until Sunday at midnight. Each vote costs 55 cents. Smart users, vote by texting the number of votes followed by a space, then your contestant's number, and send it to 5885. Each vote costs 50 cents. Here are this week's contestants.
Hola, don't let me cheat on my girlfriend. Cause as far as I can see, she loves only me. Girl, you're my angel, you're my darling angel. Cause it's in my beats you are to me. Talk about trust, talk about forever, baby. Talk about us, I give you my word. Hosanna, Hosanna, Hosanna in the highest. Fire was burning, I'm burning, till I dropped what she was holding in. You get so close to me that I can almost taste you. Shadows grow so long before my eyes, and they're moving. She said me don't make it and so much girl want give me pleasure, but so much means nothing if me not have you, girl, me suffer. Cause girl, I you me love, you me love.
Tune in to KTV The Remix Season 5 every Tuesday at 8 p.m. live only on 5.
Good evening and welcome to News 5 Live for Thursday, July 20th. I am Sabrina Daly. There was a daring attack shortly after 1 p.m. today on Neil Penn Road that claimed the life of 32-year-old Nikolai Reese. The deadly shooting also injured Jervis Samuels, who police say was in the company of Reese when a lone gunman approached them. The unnamed assailant pursued both men and opened fire on them as they fled on foot. Reese is no stranger to law enforcement and has a rap sheet that dates back to January of 2013, when he was accused of the murder of Andre Trapp, a reputed gang leader. In October of last year, Reese was acquitted of the murder of Jose Mo, a cab driver who was shot and killed in May 2018 after being called to pick up a fare at New Asia restaurant. Tonight, there are many questions surrounding the gangland execution of Nikolai Reese and whether his death is connected to an ongoing feud within the George Street gang. News 5's Isani Cayetano reports.
This afternoon on Neil Penn Road, a well-known street figure in Belize City was gunned down, and another individual who was around at the time of the deadly encounter was injured during the brazen attack. Nikolai Reese, no stranger to the law, met a fateful end sometime after 1 p.m. when a lone gunman approached and let loose a barrage of shots in his direction.
I about the true man holding in my alley and I say, dow, and I creep outside. Now when I creep outside, I see dude lean up down there by the front page. So I whip out my phone and I make a dial. Well, actually, I come back home, I get my phone, I creep back out, make a dial, and nobody know the answer. And they can say that we say a mobile call and the dude me to move.
According to Assistant Commissioner of Police Gilberto Romero, it is likely that Reese and another victim, identified as Jervis Samuels, were pursued by their attacker. The scene of the shooting was littered with expended shells as investigators began the painstaking task of gathering evidence.
Earlier today, police responded to a shooting incident here at Neil Penn Road. Upon their arrival, they learned that 2 male persons had been shot. They were immediately taken to the KHMH, where one of them succumbed to his injuries at the KHMH. He has been identified as Nikolai Reese, and the other victim was shot to the foot, and he was identified as Jervis Samuels.
Are these individuals residents of this area? They happen to be here for some other purpose?
One of them lives here, and Nikolai Reese came to do some work on his car in this area.
In terms of Jervis, was he innocently hit, and was Mr. Reese the target?
We are not sure. At some point he was along with the deceased and he received 1 gunshot to the foot.
Numerous shots were fired. Does it suggest that perhaps either Mr. Reese or Mr. Samuels were pursued into the area where they were shot?
Yes, that is what the scene is showing. They were approached and they tried to run away, and they were followed by the shooter, who then caught up to Nikolai Reese up the street.
At the time of the shooting, another resident of Neil Penn Road was crossing the street to purchase cigarettes at a nearby shop. He saw 2 persons running and heard a volley of shots behind them. 2 persons were shot earlier. One is presumed dead and the other is at the hospital. What did you hear? Did you see anything? Was anything told to you about what took place there?
Okay, well, like I said, I was buying cigarettes and then I noticed 2 people running down the street. One obviously have issue with others, not my business, but yeah, like I said, I was buying cigarettes. I don't know what I've had a problem. Story done.
You heard a barrage of shots being fired. You saw something. What happened?
Well, I just heard the shots, and because I was on the ground, I heard the shots. Numerous shots.
Reese was a known affiliate of the George Street gang, and several attempts had been made on his life in the past. He had also been charged and acquitted of murder on several occasions. Is there by any chance a connection? I know that on Wednesday the Commissioner of Police alluded to an internal situation within a Belize City gang, and all understanding is that Mr. Reese may have been involved with that particular group. Is this perhaps the spillover of that particular feud?
That has not been established. Again, we are working on the information that we have, but that has not been established as yet.
Musa Shaid lives in the immediate vicinity of the attack on Reese and Samuels. He says that residents attempted to render assistance to the victims, including Reese, but that effort proved futile. He says that a murder such as this had not taken place in the area for quite some time.
We just helped the dude up, put him on the mobile, and they took him, but I don't even know the dude. And I don't know the dude, I don't know the situation, but it's just foolish, honestly. I just feel like our failure to the system, broad daylight, at midday, and like after 1, literally.
Is this the first time in a while that you've seen violence on the street?
Really, I'll be honest, it's not been that much of a long while, but it's been some years where we've seen like Then grew some lean up there. You know, like the last time I seen a lean up like that, I went dude right there on the curve, you know, and that like probably 5 years ago or something. But or maybe less, I misjudge. But I don't know, man. I personally, like I said, disrespect. No respect to the youth now. I had to stop some parents like, don't bring them kids to see that.
Reporting for News 5, I am Isani Cayetano.
Over the past few days, we have been reporting on the tragic murder of Jasmine Domingo, a young mother who was shot and killed while sleeping inside her home on Plew Street. Her 4-year-old daughter was also struck in the thigh by a bullet. Since then, it has been revealed that the deadly incident stemmed from internal feud between members of a Belize City gang. Chester Williams, the Commissioner of Police, has informed the press that the department has beefed up its presence in the area. This morning, Minister of Home Affairs Karim Musa informed us that law enforcement officers are taking it a step further to detain and pursue charges against individuals in the area believed to be members of a gang. Here is how he explained it.
In terms of that particular case, that is an internal feud within a gang. Within the George Street gang, there is an internal feud, and that individual that carried out that execution, because that is what it was very indiscriminate, was very reckless, and was very cowardice in just going and shooting up a house that has a grandmother, I am told, lives in there, children live in there, and of course this mother lived in there. And so that is a very cowardice thing to have done, a very indiscriminate thing to be shooting up a house. But again, that stems from an internal feud, which many times is very difficult to contain and to curtail, because these are individuals who live right across from each other. And so, yes, we have beefed up our presence in that area. The police department has beefed up their presence in that area, but it's a very, very small area to contain. And so we will have to constantly be there, but this is something that's likely going to have retaliation. And so the police department and the GI3 in particular is picking up those individuals who, based on intelligence that it has gathered, are involved in this internal beef, and will pursue gang charges against these individuals, because we have to take them off the streets. We cannot allow individuals like this to continue to roam the streets when in fact they are living in such close quarters and carrying out these wanton and indiscriminate acts of violence.
There has been a noticeable reduction in violent crimes being recorded across the country. The Belize Police Department has been employing a crime-fighting strategy that has yielded results in the number of murders and related offenses being committed. According to Commissioner of Police Chester Williams, it is the result of a concerted effort being made by various arms of law enforcement, including the Leadership Intervention Unit. But is the sharp decline enough to silence the naysayers?
Don't tell that to the leader of the opposition. He has a different view. And just to correct you, major crime overall is down. When we compared this year figure to last year, it is down. But where you'll see it appears to be up is because this year we are comparing reports for which court action were requested as well as those for which court action were not requested. Last year's statistics was only court action report. So if we put together the aggregate of court action and non-court action reports, the number of reports so far this year is down compared to last year. So overall, major crime is down. As much as the leader of the opposition is saying that he can reduce crime by half, maybe he's the one committing half of the crime. That's why he'll reduce it by half if he becomes prime minister. But don't let nobody play politics with crime, or let nobody try to fool the public that they have the answer to crime. I think that the strategy we have in place right now with the LIU, the all of government approach, is working. Yes, there is more that needs to be done, and we're trying to get those other things done. We now have the new leader of LIU installed, and she's coordinating with the different organizations to make sure that we come together and look at the other areas that we need to focus on to make sure that we can address the issue of crime. But again, no matter what we do, there is always going to be crime.
Earlier this month, we told you that Cabinet has approved the establishment of a firearm and ammunition control board. The announcement came following public scrutiny over the issuance of gun and ammunition license to known criminals. This morning, Karim Musa, the Minister of Home Affairs, provided details on the composition of that board. Musa made an appearance on Open Your Eyes, where he revealed that the board will be comprised of 3 individuals.
We found it necessary to move that up and to create a system similar to what exists in Jamaica of a board. And that board will now be comprised of a magistrate on a rotational basis, of a police officer who is the head of dangerous goods within the police department, and of our CEO at the ministry, whoever that CEO may be at any given time. So currently it's Mr. Arthurs, in the future it might be a different CEO. And so this will be the composition of this board that will now accept, review gun applications and determine whether or not they should be issued. The person who is sitting on the board in the form of the head of dangerous goods as a police officer, he is the individual who will liaise with Special Branch on all the vetting that is done. There was some fraudulent vetting that was coming out. Now, Special Branch is denying any involvement in providing that fraudulent vetting. And so the head of dangerous goods, that's going to be one of his responsibilities to ensure what we are getting out of Special Branch is legitimate. And so there are all these checks and balances that we're putting in place. And in addition to this board, we're also putting in place a requirement, because I have no idea how it has never been done, but how is it that I can give you a firearm, Paul, without you getting any training whatsoever in the use of a firearm? And so we have identified that as a crucial void in the current legislation. And so one of the requirements moving forward is that you will have to pass a certification course before it is that you are issued with your licensed firearm.
And while the Commissioner of Police is of the view that police officers will always be stricter in the granting of gun license, Minister Musa contends that the board will offer a greater level of oversight. Musa says it will no longer be one individual determining who gets a gun license.
Like I said, we cannot be naive to think that a board is going to solve our problem. I have given an example of Jamaica, where there is a board. And right now, as we speak, there is queries in Jamaica because of the fact that there are a number of criminals who get gun license through the board. I always believe that the police, regardless of who the Commissioner of Police may be, the Commissioner of Police will always be more stricter in granting gun license, because we know that when gun licenses are issued, what the effect it can have not only on the society itself, but on the police officers who respond to criminals and criminal activities. And so we're going to be extremely slow in granting one license to persons who do not meet the criteria. So to say that the board is going to make it better, I am not going to say that. I'm not going to say either that the board is going to make it worse. The proof of that is going to be when it happens. Then we'll see how it goes from there.
So what are the Commissioner of Police's thoughts on the establishment of a firearm and ammunition control board? The Compol under the old system has been responsible for signing off on firearm and ammunition license. That responsibility will now be stripped from him in the midst of public scrutiny. He says that we will have to wait and see if a board can prove effective.
What the Commissioner has said is that it has not resulted in any reduction in crime in Jamaica. He has also said that individuals sit on board, human beings sit on board, and human beings are fallible. And so it's very possible that also something could be missed. So this board possibly could have missed a fraudulent vetting. It could have gotten to them and they could have missed it. But that's the whole point. that we have a board in place that will offer a check and balance. It's not just one individual anymore determining, okay, you will get a license today, Paul. Considering what the commissioner has to go through on a daily basis, not just dealing with the media, dealing with each and every crime, because he's a very hands-on commissioner. And when he goes to his office, it's probably just to sign things. Whereas you have a board that will consider things now. And it's 3 individuals sitting on the board and sitting there on a rotational basis who can be changed, as opposed to having a law in place that says this commissioner, forever as he's the commissioner, will decide gun licenses. He's totally immovable at that point. Whereas if there are any allegations against any member of the board, they can be moved. That doesn't currently exist, and to me, that is the difference.
Coming up, a fire service dispatches team to investigate fatal Newland combustion. Find out the details of these stories when we come back.
A mosquito breeding site can be as big as a barrel or as small as this container. This is why it is very important to eliminate mosquito breeding sites in and around the home. Wash and change the water in containers at least every 7 days. If you have water barrels, remember to keep them well covered and wash with soap at least every 7 days. If you live in an area where there are many mosquitoes, protect doors and windows with mosquito nets. Turn containers that can accumulate water upside down and eliminate those that cannot be used. Keep trash bins well covered and free from water. Clean gutters and drains to avoid accumulating garbage and water. Share this information with your neighbors so that the entire community works to eliminate breeding sites and prevent dengue. Remember, check, wash, cover, flip, and eliminate.
These cabinet ministers have rejected the Portugal Definitive Agreement their Prime Minister John Braceno tried to pass in cabinet.
Everyone in their right mind has rejected that definitive agreement. I think any warm-blooded Belizean would.
Disgusting, I would put it that way.
What I saw there was scandalous.
Cabinet wholesale condemned that agreement.
Braceno made a show of tearing up the definitive agreement in the House. But that a Malone puppy show. Braceno intends to bring back the disgusting contents of the definitive agreement in a new piece of legislation. That draft legislation will say any developer who invests over a certain amount will be entitled to huge tax incentives. The same incentives that were in the disgusting definitive agreement. But in reality, only Portugal will qualify for those benefits because only Portugal will be promising to invest the amount stated in the legislation. It will be a special law for Portugal and no other investor will qualify. Cabinet ministers, just wait for it. It's coming. The Prime Minister and Chris Cowie, the Tekonofi Konomono. When that time comes, will you stand up for Portugal or for the people of Belize? Will you allow yourselves to be played to create a pension plan for some of the boys?
Do you love to write? And are you currently enrolled in primary school? Well, this is your opportunity to win awesome prizes for yourself and your school. Students from Standards 4, 5, and 6 are invited to participate in BEL's 2023 Primary School Essay Competition. Here is how you can participate. In your own words, explain what our 2023 Safety and Health Week theme means to you. Personal accountability and shared responsibility, cultivating safe values and attitudes. 9 prizes will be awarded for first, second, and third place in each standard. First place winners will receive a laptop, $1,000 plus $2,000 for their school. Second place winners will receive a laptop plus $750. And third place winners will receive a laptop plus $500. Essays should be a maximum of 500 words and submitted in PDF format with your name, school, class, and contact number. Submit your essay to safety@bel.com.bz no later than Monday, July 31st, 2023. Let your ideas take flight and win with BEL's annual primary school essay competition.
Tour guides, your renewal season is coming up. Please be advised that all tour guide license expires on July 31st, 2023. BTB will start accepting applications for renewal starting May 1st, 2023. Tour guides, we're asking you to apply early in order to have a new and valid license before the current one expires. To submit via email, you'll need a clear scan of each document in PDF format and properly named and labeled. Send your application with all supporting documents to tourguide@belizetourismboard.org and include your full name and your tour guide license number in the subject line of the email. Remember to fill out your applications correctly, as BTB will no longer be accepting incomplete applications. Contact our licensing officers at 227-2420 and press 1 if you have any questions or concerns.
On Monday evening, an oil tanker explosion occurred at a lumber yard in Camp 8 in the Mennonite community of Shipyard. The vehicle belonging to M. Leva and Sons Trucking Company was offloading crude oil to a stationary tank at Crown's lumber yard, and during the transfer, oil escaped from the feeder hose to the pump, which caught fire. Today, Station Supervisor Kenneth Mortis of the National Fire Service explained what fire officials found in that investigation. Mortis could not say whether any criminal charges will be laid against anyone for the incident.
The driver of the bobtail truck over in Shipyard Monday, what happened is that they were siphoning fuel, trying to discharge at least 2.5 thousand gallons from the container, when unfortunately the equipment they were using malfunctioned, caught a fire and then erupted into an explosion. Fortunately, even though Mr. Kong sustained minor burn damages to his lower feet and hands, fortunately he was able to be treated by the Northern Regional Medical Team and discharged the very same day. The observation from this, or the key takeaway from this incident, was that these people weren't using the appropriate tool for the job. They were pumping fuel with a regular water pump versus a fuel pump, so to speak. And when the equipment failed, that was when we had the explosion resulting in the afterclaps. How we look at it from a criminal standpoint, if I may use that word, that is something that will probably be determined by the police department. I don't want to put my foot in my mouth, but that's something that also the Department of Environment can comment on. You know, whether it was just a pass-through point, if it's an actual storage facility, that's something that they will have to address and deal with it at some point in time.
Life for the Sawatsky family in the Mennonite community of Newland in Corozal will never be the same again. They lost the two youngest children in their household during a combustion and fire that left several of them seriously burned. 10-month-old Sarah was instantly burnt to death around 7:30 on Tuesday night, and her sister, 3-year-old Anna, died from burns to her entire body some hours later at the KHMH. It's a tragedy that has left the community numb. But what caused the incident? The mother, Justina, and her elder daughter, Helena, were accidentally filling a kerosene lamp when what is believed to be gasoline, while at the same time attempting to light the lamp. It blew up, spilling fuel on everyone who was around and setting them ablaze. Today, the Belize National Fire Service dispatched a team to the far-flung village to conduct an investigation. Station Supervisor Kenneth Mortis gave us a preliminary comment today.
We can look back and say, okay, this is where it started. This is from whence the flour began. So this is the root, the dispensing of the fuel, and then we'll go down and we'll say, hence the reason I ask, is it a norm? There's a certain smell detect between kerosene and gasoline. Did the families not pick up the smell? You know, I know they were, well, I can only believe they were just trying to get that lamp going to create light, and I guess they were probably in a rush. I really don't know. I don't want to put my foot in my mouth too much. Hence the reason I said there's a lot of questions surrounding this whole scenario that needs to be answered. We at the fire department will have to eventually conduct amongst ourselves to see that, you know, the probability or the rapid explosion rate at what happened. This is something that we need to do. We need to step back and run these tests ourselves, you know, and then from there, by us doing those tests, we can have an idea more or less of what happened or what went wrong. But in terms of, will there be a charge? That's not something that I can say. This is something definitely that the fire department and the police department will work closely. And as long as we tie up all the loose ends and try to get a sense of what really went on, then we'll see if there's any legal aspect behind the case. Agencies responsible will now need to step in and take a look to see if they can definitely identify the observations that you all made when it comes to these tankers and these dispensers. In terms of proper labeling, visibility needs to be available at these pumping stations.
Kareem Musa, the area representative for Caribbean Shores, also weighed in on the recommendations following the redistricting exercise. In a recent interview with Moses Shine Barrow, the leader of the opposition contended that the process has been heavily politicized to save Musa from losing his seat in Caribbean Shores. Musa responded to that assertion. He also provided some insight into the government's concerns about the Elections and Boundaries Commission's proposal.
From what I gather from the cabinet meeting is that even that proposal has raised many concerns. In particular, there is a situation where you have a 25% deviation from the average, meaning that we are not going to accomplish our objective of making each and every division have an average of, say, 5,500 voters. We still have one division, as I understand it, I haven't seen the proposal yet, that has 8,000 voters, and other divisions that have 4,000. And so that is a huge gap still. And the whole point of redistricting is to ensure that each and every division has the same, if not the same, close to the same amount of voters. Now, in terms of the leader of the opposition's allegation that I am somehow fearful of losing my seat, man, I don't know where these politicians come up with these things. And I have to chalk it up to the fact that many of them have no life outside of politics. I am an attorney at law. I studied 5 years to get my degree to practice law. I have a life outside of politics. And so I do not depend on politics the way Boots Martinez does, the way probably Shine does, because I don't know what his profession is. And so these individuals need to be in power. They need to be at all times in politics. That's not me. But let me just say this. If for whatever reason the proposal were to come back and they say, well, Caribbean Shores has to join up with Keycaulker or has to join up with Fort George or Pickstock, I have no problem with that. I will most certainly challenge for my seat because my people will demand of me. And so you can call it whatever you like. You can call it Fort George, you can call it Pickstock, you can call it Keycaulker, Belize Rural South. If Caribbean Shores moves in that direction and it's called something else, I will continue to contest because the people will demand that I represent them.
Also chiming in on the redistricting proposal is Stan Creek Area Representative Rodwell Ferguson. His constituency has almost 11,000 registered voters and is one of two that is recommended to be split. Now, as we've reported, the Briceño administration has expressed serious concerns about the proposal, and several cabinet ministers have gone on record to say that it does not align with international norms. Today, Ferguson gave his take on the proposal.
Well, I know that should go to the House. I think whenever the House meets again, and the House will determine based by a vote to say if it should proceed or not. Whatever the outcome is, I am prepared to work with it because I have a very good relationship with my constituency. Even though I almost reached 11,000, I felt so bad losing some of them. I know it needs resources to maintain it, but if whatever the circumstances is, I have no fear. I'm going to win the next election.
What are the proposed changes for your division?
I don't want to comment on the proposed changes now because I said that is not gone to the House as yet. So I don't want to make any proposition and then you come back to haunt me.
After the break, Mildred Mehetibel, the chatbot that speaks Belizean Creole.
Every project has to start somewhere, and Brothers Habet's got you covered. We're the place for professionals because we understand success is built on quality and reliability. For the do-it-yourselfers seeking quality tools and materials to bring their out-of-the-box ideas to life. Our paint department offers a kaleidoscope of hues to those looking to express their unique style. And for those seeking the perfect touch of elegance for their homes, we offer a curated collection of household fixtures and furnishings that caters to every taste. But what sets Brothers Habet apart is our exceptional customer service. Our employees go above and beyond to ensure that every customer's needs are met. We're here to see you through your building journey. Visit Brothers Habet and get started today. Or call or WhatsApp us for a quote. See you soon! In April 2015, the government of Belize gave an undertaking embodied in a consent order of the Caribbean Court of Justice to recognize Maya customary land tenure over Maya lands in the villages in the Toledo district, which constitute property that is protected by Section 3D and 17 of the Constitution of Belize. Therefore, the government accepts the consent court order of 2015 and the existence of Maya customary land tenure, and has since been in the process of implementing that order. But that does not mean that any part of this country will be separated. The government retains authority over all land in Belize and is currently in the process of first defining the scope of Maya customary land tenure. The Ministry of Human Development, Families, and Indigenous Peoples Affairs, the ministry tasked to facilitate the implementation of the consent order of 2015, is committed to protecting the rights and interests of all parties affected. Maya villages, non-Maya villages, and private landowners. Implementing the CCJ Consent Order of 2015 is a complex process. We are working tirelessly to move the implementation forward. However, during this time, we ask all affected parties to be reasonable and respectful of each other's rights and privileges. As Belizeans, we must recognize that our right to property is protected by our Constitution, regardless of who we are or where we live. This is our Belize.
up for Smart Share Plan and save big. Whether you're a small entrepreneur starting up your business, a student on a limited budget, or a family trying to save, this is the plan for you. With unlimited SMS, calls, and data, we help you save. Get up to 5 lines for as low as $30 per line monthly, only with Smart. Sign up today at any Smart showroom or sales manager countrywide. So get your business going, share more memories with friends, and be ready for the day with Smart.
Investment Services Explained. In September 1999, SSB's Mortgage and Investment Unit was created. The unit later became the Investment Department in 2005 and officially Investment Services in October 2007. So, what is the Investment Services role? How does Investment Services help to support Social Security and you? And why is Investment Services important to Belize? Investment Services' function is to make prudent investments in the form of commercial loans, shares, and real estate development. The interest income generated from these investments ensures the fund is sustainable to pay current and future Social Security benefits to its insured persons. The investment income is used to support the working population and pay pensions such as retirement and invalidity. Additionally, investment loans support economic development through commercial loans to startup and existing businesses while aiding in increased production of goods and services. We can expect Investment Services to continuously impact the lives of every insured person through Social Security pensions. Investment Services will continue to support the Belizean economy through secure investments in various industries. And that is why Investment Services exists. Social Security Board, an investment for you, your family, your future.
An intrepid Belizean woman has entered the arena of artificial intelligence with a unique invention. Chatbots are described as software applications that mimic human conversation through text or voice interaction. The first chatbot was developed in the 1960s by an MIT professor. It was called Eliza. Since then, numerous more advanced chatbots have been launched and are being used in a number of electronic devices. Of recent, Belizean Adriani Coleman launched Mildred Mehetibel, a chatbot that speaks Creole. News 5's Paul Lopez tells us more in tonight's installment of Belize on Real.
Alexa, Siri, Bixby, and Google Assistant are all examples of conversational artificial intelligence chatbots. One Belizean woman and her AI chatbot, Mildred Mehetibel, has been creating a lot of local buzz. Adriani Coleman is a digital learning and development specialist.
I was recently AI certified, and I decided that I wanted to try to create a bot, to build a bot. And so I went to explore what bots were out there because I had some ideas of what I can build. And of course, most of what I thought were already built. So I said, well, let me try to build something that hasn't been built before. And it led me to think something Belizean. And I said, well, I would like to build a Belizean Creole AI bot.
To use the chatbot software, the user must simply enter poe.com/YourBestBelizeIt on your search engine. Upon gaining access, questions can be posed using the chat box. Those questions can be written in Creole and English. Mildred's responses will always be in the Creole language.
You can ask Mildred anything Belizean. I've gotten tons of screenshots of questions that people have asked from Bolido, barrel, where my barrel there, politics, the Garobo, anything that you can think about that's Belizean, you can ask it. Fried jack recipe, cow foot soup, I've seen all of it. The bot is built on what we call the OpenAI, which is a system basically that already is built with all this information. It has all the information from the internet already. And so I created the bot built basically on the shoulders of that giant. And so anything that you ask it, it can respond. It will look into the databases or whatever I have prompted it to look at, and then it will give the responses from there.
Of course, Mildred can respond to the age-old Belizean debate. Should ketchup go in garnaches? Coleman's chatbot also has vast knowledge on Belizean music and musicians, and it continues to learn as users interact with it.
The machines are learning from us as much as we are learning from them. That is what AI really is, that machines and computer programs are now learning from humans based on our interactions. And so the more we interact with the bot, the more it learns about Belize or how to respond to the way Belizeans speak. It's learning all of that when we interact with it. We have to think about the ethics of using it. For example, when I created the bot, I have prompted it not to say vulgar words. I have prompted it not to curse. I have prompted it not to discuss certain controversial topics because I don't feel like I want that to be the basis of the bot.
This is the first iteration of the software, but the possibilities for Mildred Mehetibel are endless. It can become useful in the classroom setting and the service industry. Coleman encourages users who try her chatbot to follow her creation on the website so that it can gain traction, and to click like on the interactions to inform Mildred that her responses are accurate.
I would like to see how others use it in different contexts. So for me, it's open to use, you know. At this point, I just thought that it was fun. It was amazing to see how it responded. And I like when people are interacting with it in the different ways and the way that they use it. I really like to see that.
Reporting for News 5, I am Paul Lopez.
Creole is one of Belize's richest cultures that proponents insist we should not only practice, but preserve. So it's in that light that the Young Men's Christian Association, YMCA, contracted the services of Creole expert Sylvana Woods to conduct a 35-hour Creole program at that institution. Today, a closing ceremony was held for the students who enrolled, and News 5 spoke with Woods and one of the students, Herman Williams, to find out how it went.
Bilingual Way is actually designed specifically for a group like this. High schoolers who are monoliterate in English, maybe they know some Spanish writing too, but for argument's sake, monoliterate in English, but bilingual in Creole and English. So what we're doing is we're tapping into knowledge they don't even know they have. They are perfect Creoles. In fact, they talk Creole better than you and me, can correct me half the time, right? My Creole too educated. But the thing is, instead of just saying the Creole, we're using the standard writing system because that further develops pride. Oh, there's a way to read and write it. The dictionary is there. It elevates it in their minds, even though it's still a language, whether or not there's a dictionary. So all the examples we're using to show how grammatical rules in English are different from grammatical rules in Creole. We use the standard system, embedding it. Then we do a little implicit teaching of the symbols. It's not hard for read and write. They're just some symbols you have to learn. Of the 7,000 plus languages in the world, maybe 2,000 are written down. But out of there, English are the one with the most mixed-up spelling because of how English form, as the kids want to tell we, right? But most of the world's languages, one sound is represented by one symbol. The symbol might be 2 letters. So every time I want Marianne, yan be Y-A-M. M-A-R-Y, that yan, right? If I want to say garden, always be G-Y. If I always want the A song, later, L-A-Y-T-A. Sauté, S-O-T-A-Y. Stay, want to be like English, S-T-A-Y, kind of always A-Y. But in English, it could be straight, A-I-G-H-T. Late, L-A-T-E. It could be many ways. This is one sound, one symbol. Of course, you have to learn which symbol it is and practice a bit.
We did different activities in Creole. Like, we did some filling the blanks, some story writing, and some story reading.
Now, you're moving on to sixth form. How do you
how important do you think this course will be in your future?
So I believe this course will be important because I don't speak English too well.
You don't?
I don't. I do mix up some words sometimes because I came from speaking in Creole where I live. So just my household, we speak Creole mostly. So I understand why I get mixed up with English sometimes because I came from the Creole background and the Creole word system. So I know how to implement the different words, like the difference between English and Creole now, so that I can not make the same mistakes I did.
One of the pillars of the YMCA is character development, which promotes the building of good families. And the Creole culture is a part of who we are. So the lessons learned from the course are what the YMCA's executive director, Dr. Clara Cuellar, says she hopes the students will take with them, regardless of what field of study they enter, because it represents where they come from.
We are already seeing the benefit of it, and I say that in English for your international audience, and in a Creole we say you could see the picnic and you feel the vibe. They're happy, they're coordinating better as a team, and they behave. They even come up with, beside what was required of them of the class in a presentation, they come up with, make we do some brata and talk about different things like the phrase, you're dead your pa. You're dead your pa. See the young man, your cameraman laugh, because he know if they tell her that what that mean. But that's just it. They're learning that I can be proud. And actually I feel good when I can express things in Creole. When Bob Marley tell we emancipate ourselves from mental slavery, all of those of us who are educated in English and speak it fluently need to remember to tell ourselves and those around us that one does not hold back the other. We cannot continue to spread the colonial myth. We have to emancipate ourselves from mental slavery, especially with the celebration of Emancipation Day, that all things Creole no bad. All things Creole good, that we culture, that not just the food and the music that we culture.
When we return, still no Chief Transport Officer at Department of Transport.
Honda Navi, a partner you can rely on. Benquip, equipment, parts, service.
The Belize Tourism Board, Mars Production, and Belican present the biggest show to hit the jewel we call Belize. It's the Belize International Music and Food Festival 2.0. Join us on Saturday, July 29th and Sunday, July 30th at the Marion Jones Stadium with live performances by Morgan Heritage, The dancehall queen, Spice.
Me's a girl, me no fight over man.
Busy Signal.
Turn up for them stairs.
Afrobeat sensation Rotimi. The biggest dancehall artist for 2023, Byron Messiah. Alongside Skinny Fabulous. Jadelle. Earth and Owls. Mr. Warming Up Adam O. And Lyrical. It's the Belize International Music and Food Festival 2.0, July 29th and 30th. Come savor the rhythm as we pair music with the best of Belizean cuisine. Sponsors are Belize Tourism Board, Belican, Niche, Pop, ICB, Wine Smith, eCash, Dolphin Production, DigiWallet, Channel 5, Love FM, Creme Radio, Channel 7, Vibes Radio, Fiesta FM, and OYE Radio.
These cabinet ministers have rejected the Portugal Definitive Agreement their Prime Minister John Braceno tried to pass in cabinet.
Everyone in their right mind has rejected that definitive agreement. I think any warm-blooded Belizean would.
Disgusting, I would put it that way.
What I saw there was scandalous.
Cabinet wholesale condemned that agreement.
Braceno made a show of tearing up the definitive agreement in the House. But that I'm alone puppy show. Braceno intends to bring back the disgusting contents of the definitive agreement in a new piece of legislation. That draft legislation will say any developer who invests over a certain amount will be entitled to huge tax incentives. The same incentives that were in the disgusting definitive agreement. But in reality, only Portugal will qualify for those benefits because only Portugal will be promising to invest the amount stated in the legislation. It will be a special law for Portugal and no other investor will qualify. Cabinet ministers, just wait for it. It's coming. The Prime Minister and Chris Cowie, they take on konomono. When that time comes, will you stand up for Portugal or for the people of Belize? Will you allow yourselves to be played to create a pension plan for some of the boys?
Make your summer better. Over $30,000 in cash and prizes with Smart Summer Sweepstakes. Here's how you can enter for a chance to win. Sign up for a smart postpaid, broadband, or VoIP plan. Use $100 or more regular prepaid credit. Do a SIM swap or text in to the shark code 786. In the body of the message, enter the number of entries you would like to purchase.
No waste, no time. You can be the winner of weekly prizes. All methods give you more chances to win local airline tickets, overnight stays at numerous resorts, cash prizes, gift certificates, and much, much more. One lucky person will win the grand prize valued at $10,000, courtesy of Smart and the Belize Tourism Board.
Promotion ends September 15th. So make your summer better by getting in the race to win with Smart's Summer Sweepstakes. Smart, bringing people together.
The road service permit for Serrano's bus service expired last Friday. But for some time now, they have not been providing service from Lord's Bank to Belize City, much to the dissatisfaction of commuters. Central Transit is reportedly owned by a political operative in Belize Rural Central. Transport Minister Rodwell Ferguson responded to allegations that it was a political move to get Serrano's out. The minister denies this and today disclosed some of the infractions tabled against Serrano's bus service.
To go to the Transport Board and ask them that question and see all the discrepancies against Serrano. Then you by yourself, you will determine if you know what, if this was right, justly done or not justly done. You go and see the amount of discrepancies against him, then you make your determination.
And apparently, Serrano's had a lot of infractions. Do you
Exactly.
have any knowledge to these infractions? What are they?
Well, crashing to another bus because of the competition, then to pulling guns on some people around the area. So there are so many interactions, so the board decided that they don't want to renew his contract or his World Service permit. And then, remember, Mr. Shah represented the bus owners and the board. And even him voted against Serrano to get his contract renewed. So something is wrong.
As we reported, Diane Vasquez is no longer the Chief Transport Officer at the Department of Transport, and Peter Williams is now acting in that position. Vasquez's contract with government had expired, and we are told that she refused to renegotiate the offer made to her. And so the ministry is now looking for a replacement. Minister of Transport Rodwell Ferguson gave the media an update earlier today, but also responded to having lost several persons in his ministry.
The Chief Transport Officer, Ms. Diane Vasquez, term expire after 2 years. And normally after your term expire, you negotiate a contract with the Ministry of Finance. Apparently, there was not no agreement, but there was talking, and apparently she never satisfied with what was offered to her. And so she said she would like to sign the contract because then she wanted X amount as the Chief Transport Officer. That's the total out of my realm as the Minister of Transport. I have no negotiation with her, that is the Ministry of Finance. So far, there has been only appointment. Mr. Peter Williams is acting, and then I'm asking the public service to advertise in the public service department to see who best meet that criteria. I don't know if there is a failure. When I give you a responsibility, I do it to the best of my ability. And if you cannot get what you want to accomplish, then we have to figure out what is the way forward. With the CEO, Mr. Marconi Leal, we were working together practically for 2.5 years, and certain things maybe that was not done based on my request or what we want to accomplish, and so I had to figure out what to do as the minister responsible. I don't want my ministry to fail. And so I had to make a decision and talk to the Prime Minister and say what will be the next course of action. So right now we have a brand new CEO, Ms. Adele Katsim Sanchez, and we have a very good working relationship.
The Transport Minister also responded to the issuance of a contract for the manufacture of license plates. It was among the first things flagged by his new CEO, Adele Katsim Sanchez. The contract is for over $200,000, and according to the CEO, it did not follow proper procedures in its award. Back then, the Cabinet Secretary was acting as CEO for the ministry. But there are allegations that the contract was awarded to a relative of Minister Rodwell Ferguson. He responded to those allegations this morning.
That's not true. And let me explain to you how the ministry was being run. As a minister, I do not operate every day in the activities of the ministry. That's why I have a CEO. And they are the ones who decide who to get the contract or who don't. I do not decide, I don't care. Once I know that the job is being provided and the job is done, that is my position.
So then, but could it be that there are other actors using your name who are in fact related to people close to you?
I will not answer. I'm ignorant to that fact. But the CEO runs the day-to-day activity of the ministry.
But at the end of the day, they would say that the buck stops at you, so you should be able to guarantee that things are done above board. Let
me tell you something. When I put out a letter stating that I was at least aware of anything being signed over $5,000 so I can be aware, you all criticize me. I said the minister is micromanaging. But as the minister responsible, when cabinet comes to me, I must have an answer. So I have to have an answer to make sure I can provide to the cabinet and actually to the National Assembly.
So given that, did you ask about that particular award of the contract? Didn't that raise any eyebrows for you?
Well, remember we went through a transition. And that was the reason why I think me and Marconi Sever, because then I guess the letter was leaked. And so we were going through a transition. So I never really knew until I saw the letter from the President CEO.
There's an outbreak of the New World screwworm in Central America again, and the folks at the Belize Agricultural Health Authority, BAHA, are informing farmers and others who have pets close to the border areas to be vigilant. They are also advising people who cross into Belize with farm animals to adhere to the measures that are in place when importing these animals. So far, only Panama has declared a state of zoo sanitary emergency with reported cases in cattle, pigs, dogs, and horses. Costa Rica has reportedly only one case of the parasite in a dog. Because the New World screwworm can also affect other mammals, including humans, there is a concern that if the parasite is found in Belize, it can be transmitted to people. While the host of the parasite can be safely treated, the aim is to keep the infestation of the screwworm minimal, if not completely eradicated.
There are procedures in place to ensure that all animals that come into Belize are safe in general, and we've been able to maintain that free status since then. What we've done is we've had to recategorize risk for Panama specifically and Costa Rica, because we've had an outbreak in Panama and we have one case in Costa Rica. And what that means is that we've stepped up our measures a little bit further for those two countries, and that specifically requires now that whenever animals are being imported from Panama or Costa Rica, there must be a veterinary inspection at the port of entry.
Up next, National Sports Council partners with Spain Football Club to host football clinics in Belize.
I'm a fourth farm student at Escuela Secundaria Técnica Mexico. And firstly, I would like to thank BEL for this opportunity, for we not only obtain prizes that facilitate our student life, but also knowledge in things that are essential into our everyday lives, such as energies.
We are thrilled with the prizes that our students have received, and so we are certain that they are very happy. When we communicated with their parents, they were also very excited to get to know that their children were being recognized.
Through this energy challenge, I learned many things that can be applied to my daily life, such as tips on conservation of energy, which I can apply at home.
First and foremost, we want to thank BEL for coming up with these challenges and also taking into consideration the schools and our students. In our case, it helps us to and helps our students to challenge themselves in the knowledge and content that they have.
I would like to give a big thanks to BEL for giving this opportunity. It is an amazing opportunity for us students, as the prizes will help us in our studies and that they continue to challenge the students.
These cabinet ministers have rejected the Portugal definitive agreement their Prime Minister John Braceno tried to pass in cabinet.
Everyone in their right mind has rejected that definitive agreement. I think any warm-blooded Belizean would.
Disgusting, I would put it that way.
What I saw there was scandalous.
Cabinet wholesale condemned that agreement.
Braceno made a show of tearing up the definitive agreement in the House. But that a Malone puppy show. Braceno intends to bring back the disgusting contents of the definitive agreement in a new piece of legislation. That draft legislation will say any developer who invests over a certain amount will be entitled to huge tax incentives. The same incentives that were in the disgusting definitive agreement. But in reality, only Portugal will qualify for those benefits, because only Portugal will be promising to invest the amount stated in the legislation. It will be a special law for Portugal and no other investor will qualify. Cabinet ministers, just wait for it. It's coming. The Prime Minister and Chris Cowie, the Tekonofi Konomono. When that time comes, will you stand up for Portugal or for the people of Belize? Will you allow yourselves to be played to create a pension plan for some of the boys?
Taking its name from the venerable father of the nation, the George Price Highway stretches 77 miles from Belize City to Benqueviejo. Originally built in the 1930s, this cross-country highway system is the artery that links Belize to Central America at the western border with Guatemala. That connection facilitates overland trade, supporting Belize's economic development. Winding its way across the scenic countryside, the George Price Highway from Roaring Creek to Esperanza has been fully reconstructed to meet international standards, with particular emphasis on road safety. A shorter and hassle-free commute is best enjoyed when everyone obeys the traffic laws. To reduce the number and frequency of road traffic accidents, it means that a seatbelt must be worn at all times and the speed limit observed when traveling along the highway. It also means that pedestrians must use sidewalks and crosswalks where available. Buses should only board and discharge passengers at a designated bus stop. Road safety is everyone's responsibility. It begins with you.
Make your summer better. Over $30,000 in cash and prizes with Smart Summer Sweepstakes. Here's how you can enter for a chance to win. Sign up for a smart postpaid, broadband, or VoIP plan. Use $100 or more regular prepaid credit. Do a SIM swap or text in to the short code 786. In the body of the message, enter the number of entries you would like to purchase.
No waste no time. You can be the winner of weekly prizes. All methods give you more chances to win local airline tickets, overnight stays at numerous resorts, cash prizes, gift certificates, and much, much more. One lucky person will win the grand prize valued at $10,000, courtesy of Smart and the Belize Tourism Board.
Promotion ends September 15th. So make your summer better by getting in the race to win with Smart's Summer Sweepstakes. Smart, bringing people together.
Since Sunday, the U19 Female Central American Volleyball Championship has been raging at the Belize City Civic Center. Team Belize has been performing well, but on Monday lost to the formidable Costa Rican team. And then on Wednesday, our girls pummeled Honduras. Tonight, the team takes on Nicaragua, and then on Friday, they go head-to-head with the team from Guatemala, before ending off on Saturday with a match against El Salvador. Today, News 5 spoke with President of the Belize Volleyball Association, who gave an update on the standings for Team Belize.
We started off very well, as we had hoped, against the Panama team. We showed that what we can do. The following night, I must admit that Costa Rica was stronger than I had expected. They showed that they are very that they have a lot of experience. Their serving was very strong. You know, they had a tactic in their serving that, unlike any other team, I think they are the best here in doing that, and that really had an effect on us. We are the only team so far to even take a set from them. They have been dominant in the competition, so we feel good about that. And now comes Nicaragua. Nicaragua has the same record as us. In fact, they've only lost to Costa Rica. We play Guatemala tomorrow night. Guatemala has the same record like us, but they play Costa Rica today, this afternoon at 2:30. So we are feeling confident. Once we get past this match, it's into the medal rounds. And so it's very important to get past this match. We think the girls are ready. I believe there is Costa Rica, Belize. We are the second best team in this tournament. If you look at it, now it's just to go out there and do it. I think we should be able to actually beat the next teams. I don't want to go say easily, but Nicaragua is a team that's going to battle. If there's one trait about Nicaragua, they never give up. They don't care if you're 20-2, they're going to be fighting. So we expect that tonight. We expect long rallies. We expect them to play hard. We expect it to be a tough match. But that said, we know we are the better team and should be able to overcome them.
A delegation of technical staff from a football club in Spain is in country, carrying out a series of football clinics for female and male football players. They arrived in Belize on Wednesday through a partnership with the National Sports Council and the Football Federation of Belize. Today, the media was introduced to the program at a press conference, and thereafter the contingent headed out for day one of the clinics that will take them across the country. News 5's Dwayne Moody reports.
Inside the conference room at the Marion Jones Sporting Complex, a plan of action was shared on the newly formed relationship between the National Sports Council, the Football Federation of Belize, and Tavernes Football Club out of Spain. Sports Director Iris Centeno trained with them several years ago and is now working with them to engage in football clinics in Belize.
Every time I attended workout, I would say, you know what, you all should come to Belize and help me see how we can empower through the sports. I spoke to them regarding the vision, which is to use sports to change our country. I believe strongly that sports can help us make a better Belize for us all. I want to be able to contribute, not only to make history when it comes to accomplishing or winning tournaments. For me, sports is more to change lives, help our youths, our kids.
A delegation of 4 persons from Tavernes Football Club in Spain will be in country for about 8 days, visiting with different clubs, scouting out the best junior athletes in Belize. They include head coach Thomas Tendero, assistant coach Jonathan Garcia, and captains Hema Ibarra and Rebecca Lopez.
We came here to make bridges between Belize and Spain, so we can see the people of Belize that play football, and they can also see us play football. And maybe in the future they can come to Spain. That for sure, you are all welcome. And we are trying to empower women, and because in Spain we are doing that, and we want that in Belize. We want to make this too.
Tavernes Blanques is a professional club from Spain, Valencia, Spain. It was established in 1969, so the club is over 50 years old. At the Football Federation, we have been doing a lot with our national teams. We have over 7 national teams that participate annually in international tournaments. So we are hoping with this partnership with Tavernes FC that they can help us to structure our club in the region, that we may be able to have all categories in each club. Tavernes FC, their structure is very unique, where they have clubs from grassroots, clubs at youth, and in both gender, male and female. The purpose of their visit here in Belize is for them to observe our female players and also to conduct clinics throughout the country. Right.
1, 2. Minister of Sports Rodwell Ferguson says that the exchange program is just the beginning of what's to come under the leadership of the newly appointed sports director Iris Centeno.
Just connecting with Spain, it's magnificent for Belize, because Spain, they even knew where Belize was, and because of Iris, she was an ambassador for Belize and she brought them here. So it's a very, very enlightening. This will take us a very long way, and in Belize we need the support from a major country like Spain.
So what can we expect from it?
Well, according to Iris, this is only the beginning. It could be an exchange program between ourselves and Spain. So I'm hopeful that this will go very big, and eventually we'll see the mileage from it.
Dwayne Moody for News 5.
From volleyball and football to basketball, for the first time in Belize's history, FIBA U17 Centro Basket Championship 2023 will be held in Belize. The junior regional basketball team competition takes place at the Belize City Civic Center from July 24th to the 30th. When we spoke to President of the Belize Basketball Federation, Jacob Leslie, back in June, he spoke of the need for financial support to host the tournament. Today, Sports Minister Rodwell Ferguson confirmed that monies will be invested in that basketball competition, as well as the upcoming Kodikader Games, also to be hosted in Belize.
I'm very agitated when I go to Cabinet, and Cabinet recognized that sports for young people is a must and it's important. So I was able to get Cabinet to contribute 150,000, almost 200,000 to the under-17 basketball, and the entire budget for Kodikader. We also visited the utility company and each one contribute 150 to Kodikader, so we were able to find the funds for the under-17 basketball and likewise Kodikader. Sometimes you want to hear negative news, but nobody asked me when I became the president of Consacrade, what is my role and what is my position.
I did, sir.
You did? Okay,
yes.
ma'am. And I am also the vice president of the entire Americas, one of the vice presidents. And with that opportunity that I got, I will do everything to raise funds, not only for Belize, but for the entire region. And you will see a complete difference in sports in the region.
And that's the news. Tonight's broadcast is available at channel5belize.com, on our Facebook and on YouTube. I'm Sabrina Daly. Thanks for joining us. And from all of us here at News 5, good night.